Hello and welcome to Year 4's virtual curriculum meeting. This is going to be a presentation where I talk about everything that's going to happen in Year 4 and try and answer some of the questions that you might have about your child's experience in Year 4 and what's to expect. If you do have any questions at the end of this presentation, please feel free to email them via the office and they will come to me. Or you can always grab me at the end of the school day or at the beginning. I tend to be around and I do run an open door policy, so I'm more than happy to answer any questions you might have. So I'm going to run through the slides on the screen and I'm going to talk you through some of the key elements of Year 4 and some of the things that you could perhaps do at home to support your child through the Year 4 experience. So the first thing I'm going to do is my introduction. So my name's Miss Weir. I've been a Year 4 teacher for 3 years now, and our TA in this class is Mr. Barragan. Now, unfortunately, Mr. Barragan isn't here with me today, but the children know him really well. I'm sure they've talked lots about him. He's also one of our lunchtime supervisors. Last year, he was based in Year 6, and he's come down to join me in Year 4 this year. He also runs quite a lot of games and sports things outside on the field at lunchtime. So the children in this class have spent quite a bit of time with him and they do know him really well. The children in this class were also fortunate enough to have Mr. Barragan for a short period of time last year, where he helped support and cover another member of staff. So they've had some experience working with him as a TA as well. So the important thing in Year 4 is to build effective partnerships. Now that's both with myself, Mr. Barragan, and the families at home, so you guys at home. It's also effective relationships and partnerships with the children in our class as well. In Year 4, we'll be continuing to support the children in developing independent learning skills. We do this through a cross-curricular approach, so we like to link lots of our subjects and bring them all together so that it's a really engaging and broad curriculum. For example, our current topic or overall learning theme is Make a Change, and that's an environmental based unit of work. So we are looking at geography and environmental changes and global warming and all those different things that impact our world. Within that unit, we add in lots of different subjects to make it a really engaging unit of work. So we don't just stick to one subject at a time. We like to use lots of different links in other units as well. And we encourage children to do this as independently as possible, because as they move through the school into Year 5 and into Year 6, that independence is really key. So we're working hard towards that by the end of the year. Our school values are still really at the core of everything that we do in school and in Year 4. We work towards our aspire, respect and enjoy values. The children are encouraged regularly to come back to their values and consider, are they working towards the values? Are they meeting the values? They do so with their certificates at the end of the week, our ARE certificates, where the children are celebrated for either aspiring to do something, respecting something, or enjoying something. And that's really important to bring into all of our learning as we move through Year 4. So here's a little snapshot. I hope my face doesn't cover too much of the screen in the corner there. But here's a little snapshot of some of the things that we would be learning about in our current overall learning theme. So this half term, we are looking at the learning theme. It's a geographical learning theme. So it's geography based, called Make a Change. And within that, we will be doing some cross-curricular links. We will be in geography, investigating biomes and vegetation belts. In literacy, we will be doing some story writing all about global warming or all about the environment or different elements that the children choose to write a story about, basically to do with our environment. In art, we're going to be doing sculptures. These are specifically environmental sculptures or sculptures that can show some kind of environmental impact. So it might be that they've designed a tree, it might be that they've sculpted some kind of earth or globe, something like that, that can show an impact that society has had on the world. So we're going to be thinking really deeply about our sculptures and the purpose for them as well. And we're going to be doing that out of clay as well, which the kids love. We're also going to be investigating changes in animals' habitats in science. So again, it all links really nicely to our Make a Change theme, because as we know, as global warming has developed, or as climate change has developed, we have impacted animals' habitats. So that's a really important thing to look at. And also looking at environmental changes over time. So, you know, what impact has our Earth, or has it had on our Earth rather, and the people who inhabit it. We're going to be using books and internets to do the research as well. So we'll be doing lots of computing around this. So that's just some of the learning we'll be doing about our overall learning theme. But as you can see in the top right-hand corner, we've also got some other areas of learning. So we have our maths, our place value, rounding numbers. These are our units for this half term. We're going to be creating digital fact files in ICT. We are bringing back swimming this year, which I know everyone's sort of cheering at home because that's something everyone was really excited about, including us. Swimming will be resuming on the 23rd of September, which is a Thursday. It will be happening every Thursday morning from then, and it will be running throughout the year. But more information will be given to you in a letter about this very, very shortly, if it hasn't gone out already. So if it has, I apologise if I'm repeating something. But in our other PE session, we're going to be doing netball. We're also going to be adding and subtracting 2 4-digit numbers. So we've got lots of maths to go with that as well. Then next half term, so we're thinking after the half term and into our Christmas section of schooling, we're going to be looking at our overall learning theme, which is a historical theme this time, and it's divorced, beheaded, died. So this is all based on King Henry and the Tudors, basically. So we're going to be making Tudor fact files in literacy. So we're going to be making some non-chronological reports as well. We're going to be doing some newspaper writing and literacy in a different unit as well, all about a big tragic event that has happened during the Tudor times. However, this is going to be something the children are going to create themselves. We've got our history expert, Paul Olsen, who's going to be visiting us. He's going to be visiting us on the 6th of December, Monday the 6th of December, for the morning, and we're going to have a Tudor themed morning. Then a little bit later on, and some more information will go out on this, the children will be asked to dress up in a Tudor themed outfit. So they could play a character, well I say a character, they could play one of the monarchs, or they could perhaps come in dressed as some sort of pauper in the Tudor times, or someone who was a common person in the Tudor times. It doesn't have to be a monarch. But they're going to come in their outfits, and they're going to experience a day as a Tudor person. But don't worry, there won't be any disgusting stuff. We've also got science, and in science we're going to be exploring sound. We're going to be listening and appreciating to music from the Tudor period as part of our sound unit, which links really nicely to our music. And our music is going to be making our own Tudor music. We're going to be looking at changes in Tudor London to now. So we're going to look at the difference between the way things were in Tudor London and the way things are now in London. This helps us to see a real change over time of things like sophistication and the way that humans have developed different techniques to keep clean and hygiene routines and things like that. So it's going to be a really interesting observation. We've also got some drama. We're going to be doing some historical hot seating. And in the top corner, again, covered by my head, but hopefully not too much, we're actually going to be making we're going to be doing a cooking unit in DT, and we're going to be making some Christmas cookies. So the children will design their own recipe and make their own recipe, and they will box it up and package it up, and that will be a Christmas gift or a festive gift for someone in either their family or whoever they would like to give it to. So that's a really nice unit that I know the children every year absolutely enjoy and look forward to. And it also involves them eating a lot of biscuits, so they really love that. We're going to continue with our swimming, and we're going to do gymnastics as our other PE. We've got some of our maths, our multiplication and division, length and perimeter. We're also going to be continuing with French next half term with Mrs. Potter. And we've got Hinduism in our RE unit, which runs all year. So moving forward beyond this term, let's look at the rest of the year. So we've got Spring 1, we've got Sink or Swim, which is a Titanic, it's a historical themed learning theme. And it's all about the Titanic. Then, and for that, we're going to have a Titanic Day, which is really lovely. The children get to dress up as a member of the Titanic, either first, second or third class, and it's a very exciting thing to do. Misty Mountains is a geographical unit where we are going to be looking at mountain regions from around the world. Then if you fast forward all the way to summer, we've got Stones, Thrones and Bones. So that's going to be our Stone Age and our Iron Age. And we have a Stone Age Day with Paul Olsen booked in for that as well. And in summer too, so right at the end of the year, right before they all become Year 5 students, which is really far away now, but won't be that far away for very much longer, we are doing Canals and Rivers, and it's a locational knowledge unit, and it is geographical. And there is going to be a class trip for that, but that's still to be confirmed. So more information will be coming out on that. So what to expect when the children are in the classroom? When the children are in the classroom, we actually work in mixed ability groups. These change regularly. We have a seating plan that changes regularly. However, the children on their own tables will rotate regularly as well. So the seating plan changes half-termly, but the children will rotate on their tables quite regularly as well. This is really important to have mixed ability groups because actually it means that all children are able to learn from one another. So they are able to develop skills of working with children that are different children to who they might normally work with, and they get to pick up on different vocabulary that each other are sharing. So it's a really important thing to have mixed ability working. We stretch, challenge and support children and enable the teacher and TA to work with all children. So the TA might take a small group sometimes, but often Mr. Barragan will be in the classroom supporting all the children, just as I will. And that's really important because that means that we can build that relationship throughout all of our learning. Some of the assessment that is done in Year 4 then, so we have informal teacher and TA assessments which take place the whole time. So that's us observing that someone has really struggled with something and just very, very informally noticing that and helping them in the moment. And that is what happens every single day at school. But we also have some more formal observations, which are either self-assessments, that the children are given the opportunity in Year 4 to look over their work and decide, actually, is this the best that I could do? Could I improve on this? Could I add to it? But they're also given an opportunity to share their ideas with their friends or other peers in the classroom. So that means that other people are able to look at their work and say, actually, I think you could improve that sentence by doing X, Y, and Z. And that's what we call peer assessment as well. So lots of that happens in Year 4, because in Year 5 and Year 6, that is quite a common occurrence. So we're building them up ready for that. Some more formal assessments towards the start of the summer term, such as the Year 4 multiplication check, but we'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. And something that we do at the beginning and end of every unit, in our maths and in our literacy and in our science as well, we have similar vocabulary checks. However, it's not quite the same as this. We do cold and hot tasks. So at the beginning of a unit, the children will complete a cold task where they'll be asked to say, write a story. And they're just to give it their best go. There's no expectation. It's as much or as little as you want. And it's just a way for the teacher to say, actually, I think they know what they're doing, or half the class understand this, or the other half of the class are going to struggle with X, Y, and Z. And it means the teacher isn't just teaching things unnecessarily. We can now plan our work around what the children already know, and we can work from there. It's a really good assessment tool. And then at the end of a unit of work, so say story writing is finished, I might ask the children to write a story again, and that way we can see if there's any progress that has been made throughout that unit, if the children have definitely secured all the things that I've taught them and they understand them and they can represent them in their stories. So some of the weekly routines that happen in our classroom. We have reading. We try to do reading every single day. I read to the class every single day without fail, and guided reading, which is a separate lesson as well on reading, happens 3 to 4 times a week. But reading independently is something we strive to do for at least 4 or 5 times a week if we can. Sometimes it's more like 4, but that's absolutely fine. The children get lots of opportunities to read in other contexts as well. Spellings. So we have a test every Friday. So what will happen is every Friday, the homework books will be sent home, which goes into my home learning task. These are a range of different tasks. It could be a bit of maths, it could be a bit of literacy. This week, for example, I've set an art homework. So it completely depends on the week we've had and what we've been learning about. And it normally always links to something we've already covered in school. So it's something the children should be able to achieve. So the homework books go out on a Friday and they're expected to come back on the following Thursday. That gives me enough time to mark them, look over them and have them ready to go out the next day again. If they're back late, it just means I might not have had a chance to mark it. But in that homework book, your spelling words, your child's spelling words will be at the bottom. That is what they need to practice for the next week until Friday when they will they will do a spelling test, sorry. And then they'll be given new words and it will all repeat again. So for PE, you will need an outdoor PE kit this term because we have, or this half term, sorry, because we have netball this half term. So the children will need their white, either JYS PE top or a plain t-shirt and blue shorts. And they will need a pair of trainers or a pair of shoes that they can change into for outdoor PE. Next half term it is gymnastics, so it'll be indoor, so they won't necessarily need the shoes next half term. But you might find that it's raining and they want to go on the field, in which case a spare pair of shoes are always useful. Then following into spring term, we have dance, tennis and swimming again. And then summer term is athletics, cricket and then swimming again. As I say, we do swimming all year, so that takes up one of our slots. So here's some opportunities for you to get involved or to help out if you choose to. I have an open door policy, so my door is you're always welcome to knock on my door. I'm always here, normally from about 8 o'clock. So please feel free to come and grab me in the morning if the afternoon isn't convenient for you. Or you can grab me after school if you need to ask me anything. However, when it comes to emails, we're moving towards sending emails via the office like we used to do, and they will then get sent directly to me. So we've got some autumn term consultations coming up. The date is to be confirmed, but that will be coming out to you shortly. We have another parent consultation in the spring term, again, to be confirmed. Then in the summer, we have our reports. And to be honest, that's an opportunity for further meeting. If you read your report and you have some questions, that's an opportunity for us to have another discussion. But hopefully by then, we will both know, we will both be on the same page in terms of where the children are, and you will be very clear on what to expect from your summer report. I would never throw a curveball in your summer report without any discussions with individuals. So that's enough time over the autumn term and the spring term to have some consultation time and to discuss where the children are, how they're getting on, how they're settling in, and to give you enough information. Then we're going to have our class assembly and stay and learn sessions. Again, these dates are all to be confirmed, but they are all confirmed they should be going ahead this year as COVID restrictions have begun to lift in schools at the moment. And then helping and volunteering. So as our restrictions are lifting, volunteering to read with either our class or perhaps another class would really be beneficial for the children. I know that obviously throughout our time with COVID, we've actually lost a few of our reading helpers, and getting some more in would be really beneficial to help the children to pick up on some of that reading they might have missed. So this is probably the thing that I get asked every single year, the statutory assessment in year 4. Now, for the last 2 years, it has not been compulsory to complete the statutory assessment, the times table check in year 4. However, we're not sure yet whether this year is going to be a compulsory year. I would imagine it will be, so I would say prepare for it to be a compulsory test. How this runs is that the children will sit at computers, they will log in to the DFE website, and they will be given 12 questions, all on times tables. They will be random times tables, and it will be all up to 12 times 12. So the children, by the end of year 4, we aim for them to be fluent in their times tables so that they are able to pass that test. Now, we did run a focus group, a practice last year with last year's year 4s. And the thing that we noticed was probably the most tricky was actually the use of a keyboard. Now, we don't use iPads for this this multiplication check, it is actually a computer and a keyboard. So for some children, they were not used to using the keys in that way with the numbers at the top or the numbers down the side, because iPads obviously do it very differently. So if there is any advice I could give, it would be to see if your child has the opportunity to practice on a keyboard at home or in any other setting, just because it's very different to an iPad. But if that's not possible, that is not a problem. We will be doing an awful lot of practice at school as well with the computer suite. So supporting your child's learning at home, what can you do? Well, home learning, if you could encourage that to be completed, no homework is compulsory, but if it can be encouraged to be completed, it's just another way for children to engage in the learning in school and bring it to the forefront of their memory, basically. So it's really useful. Visiting the library together is another really useful thing to do. You could go and pick some topic related books, some of our learning themes, and you could perhaps enjoy a range of genres of books as well, fiction and non-fiction books. We all kind of hear that classic term, the better a reader, the better the writer. And that is absolutely something we see a lot in school. You know, the more reading children do, the more exciting they become about reading, the more exciting they become about literacy, the more fluent they are in their writing, the more imagination and the more creativity comes from that. It's a really important tool. So the more books they're exposed to, the better, really. And we have a real wide range at school, so they can always take anything that we've got. That's absolutely fine. They're more than welcome to take my books home. But another way of doing it is to visit the library. Regular reading aloud and discussing the material. So perhaps not just reading with your child, but maybe saying, why is that character sad? What do you think has made them sad? That might give them enough prompt, the child enough prompt to speak back to you and retell a story or explain their reasons. These are all really key reading skills that we are developing in Year 4. And supporting children's learning of spellings, which includes rather than just doing the spelling words perhaps of that week, if your child's really understood it and really flown through those and is, you know, doing such a good job on those, perhaps you could ask them to write it in a sentence, or perhaps you could ask them to use it in their homework book. Perhaps you could ask them different other ways that spelling could be used. So it's just a really good way of bringing it into the world around them. And one last thing that I have just missed is developing your child's mental maths with quick fire questions based on the times tables. So that could be as simple as flashcards. That could be as simple as rolling a dice 2 times and multiplying the numbers together. Doing it in a game like that, children seem to really engage with. So anything that you can do with that at home would be absolutely fantastic. 2 websites that are really, really useful for this: Times Table Rockstars, which your child will have their own login to, and Carol Vorderman's Times Table Check. So that is a really good simulation of the multiplication check. They've created their own website where they almost mirror what will be seen in the multiplication check. So it's a really good use of their time to practice that. Another one is Hit the Button, which is a free, no login, no fees, no nothing. Same with the Carol Vorderman one. The children just type in Hit the Button on Google and they can play the games with multiplications. Okay, so that is the end of our curriculum presentation. Before I sort of leave it there, I just want to obviously open the floor now to you. I'm sure that I've kind of given you loads of information. I'm really sorry for that. It must be a bit of an overload. If there's anything I've missed or that you really would like the answer to, please feel free, like I said, to either ping an email to the office and they will send it to me, or pinpoint you in the right direction if it can go to someone that might be a bit more knowledgeable about it. Or if you have anything you want to ask me, come and find me at the beginning of the day or the end of the day. Like I say, I'm normally here by 8 o'clock at least, and I'm normally here until at least 4:30. So I'm always around if anyone needs to ask any questions or check anything out. So yeah, hopefully that will help you to understand what it is your child's going to be experiencing this year. And I look forward to working more with you in the future.